of all the schemes we surveyed, there was 90% use of equities in some part of the plan. Our view is that there should be a consideration of this, because it may be that using equities as the default strategy will not properly meet the needs of members in terms of pensions outcomes when they retire.
Now, about 80% of people end up in the default fund, but the experience of people in that fund, the results that they achieve through default funds are incredibly diverse. Not only is the performance diverse, but also the risk that people need to take to achieve those objectives is very, very diverse as well. It's a bit of a lottery.
The worst that can happen, David, frankly, is you get a big fall in the market, your fund there maybe falls 10, 15, 20%, you're left there going, well, do I simply have to retire on kind of half of what I was expecting? Do I have to work another 10 years in order to get the level of pension I want? Do I have to double my contributions to make good that shortfall? And those are the questions I think we need to be asking. How much can an individual afford to recover from a negative outcome?
Clearly there is a lot of risk in practice in our default fund, because most people are in an age where all their money is invested in equities, and that obviously can give the highest return over the long term, but with a high degree of volatility. And therefore, reviewing the default fund with a view of perhaps producing a slightly lower return, but a consistently one that hopefully is still a good return at the end of the day with less risk is probably a preferred solution.
What we found when we've done research is there's more of a building society mentality out there. So people don't really expect the fluctuations, the volatilities you get with 100% equities. They're actually much happier with a fund that gives them a steadier return over time. It's why they used to like with profits after all.
We've developed a model, for example, that tries to look and estimate the risk tolerance of individuals within a scheme. So, you can begin to work from an understanding of your membership to build and say, well, actually, let's build a portfolio for people in their 20s and 30s, maybe a portfolio then for people in their 40s, and then a portfolio for people in their 50s and 60s, and much more focus the risk profile of that fund option for people in that age group. I think, when DC was young, it made a lot of sense to keep it simple. But I think DC is now growing. We need to be smarter about it. The risk tolerance of somebody in their 20s is different from somebody in their late 40s.
Well, it's very much got a focus on capital preservation. So it's a very well diversified fund. It does include allocation to equities, but the asset allocation will change over time as the manager sees fit. So basically, it's making those big asset allocation decisions that members don't have the expertise all the time to make themselves.
It's not bad for people who can probably afford to recover from negative outcomes. So people who potentially are slightly higher earners, people who wouldn't mind perhaps or be able to make higher contributions to recover, people who perhaps got flexibility around their retirement age or the level of income that they've got, maybe because they've got other savings, other wealth that they can live off in retirement.